In the fall of 2008, the critically acclaimed documentary film, IOUSA, was released in theaters nationwide. The film warned of America's rapidly growing national debt and its implications for the country. No one could have predicted how much worse the situation would become in just 19 months. Consider these facts. In 2008, our federal budget deficit, which is how much money the U.S. government needed to borrow to pay all its bills, rose dramatically to $459 billion. Last year, due to extraordinary economic conditions, our budget deficit exploded to $1.4 trillion. That's over $4,500 for every American. And the total projected deficit over the coming decade will be $16 trillion. What about the national debt? In September of 2008, the national debt was $9.6 trillion. Today, it's almost $12.7 trillion, a 32% increase. That's nearly $41,000 for every American. And our budget deficits and national debt are only part of the problem. If you were to add up all of our nation's total liabilities and unfunded promises in Social Security, Medicare, and other programs, you would get over $62 trillion, $6 trillion more than in the fall of 2008. This is how much money our federal government would need invested today to pay for our nation's major liabilities and promises. How much of this $62 trillion do we have today? Zip. That's over $200,000 for every man, woman, and child in the United States. For decades, our leaders have warned of the dangers of our large and growing national debt.
Part of our trouble is that we have been self-indulgent, and now the bill has come due.
And yet today, the situation is more dire than ever.
Understand, if we don't take meaningful steps to rein in our debt, it could damage our markets, increase the cost of borrowing, and jeopardize our recovery. I refuse to pass this problem on to another generation of Americans.
We didn't create this problem.
We weren't the ones who spent the money.
We weren't the ones who left the bill for someone else.
We didn't ask for this problem, but we are the ones who will have to pay for it.
A great nation cannot stay great if it can't keep its economy strong. Let me talk to you about a way forward.
Doing nothing is not an option. It's not an option for our generation, and it's certainly not an option for future generations.
There are many possible solutions to our fiscal problems. We will discuss some examples to illustrate the kinds of changes that should be considered. Many combinations are possible, but what is critical is that we get started.
The failure to make the choice now of how to pay for the government we want is to dump the choice on our kids who will have no choice. So one of the calculations we need to make is that okay? Are we okay with that?
And this time, rather than talking about the problem, we're talking about solutions.